Hello, everybody, and welcome to Curtis's Podcast Network. And this is For the Shoe Friday, a day early. It's like showing up to work an hour early. What's your boss going to do? No, you can't, because unions.
Well, you are the boss.
Easy. Yeah, if you're new here, this is the podcast where we talk nothing but Colts football. Basically, it's my main man Jeff's show. I'm just here facilitating and pulling the info out of him like a cheese grater or a butter machine. The churning thing. He's got it all in there, and I just gotta. I'm having
Gross.
no homo. So yeah, For the Shoe Friday number 16. We're looking actively to rename the show, because we're going to rename it something less dependent on the day. But as we're starting out here, I'm watching one of the Eagles players is being strapped to one of the things, the gurneys, and carted off the field right now. I don't know who it is.
Let's see here.
I'm looking.
Been a little occupied, so I haven't been watching the game. Tyree Cleveland.
Thoughts and prayers go out to Tyree Cleveland. Hopefully it's something minor and he just got something crazy knocked out of the wind. But yeah, so speaking of someone else who was recently injured, Doolin. Is it Austin Doolin?
Ashton Doolin?
Ashton Doolin.
Yeah.
Ashton Doolin tore his ACL.
Austin Doolin? What the hell are you putting in the caption for?
I don't know. I didn't.
Come on, man.
I forgot his name. Tears his ACL, and now the wide receiver room is even less deep than it was before, as well as the situation with JT. The Colts have a very interesting offense as it goes right now.
Yeah. Doolin, when given the opportunity, he did really well. Like, he was asked to fill in some games, and I think he performed really well in the time that he was given. Unfortunately, I think he's talented. I think all the potential was there. It just never, I guess, fully materialized. And now this, he was already probably going to be, probably fifth, I would assume, in the depth chart, but it just sucks, man. It's another guy that has a lot of potential, but torn ACL is obviously going to derail 2023 for him, and hopefully not after that. But it sucks when it happens. So
yep, you just hope that he can bounce back quicker than most. It's usually about an 18-month thing, so hopefully there's somebody. I'm sharing the stream right now. Hopefully there's somebody who's got some sort of insight or something. Anyway, now that that's done. So JT has been in and out of the facility lately. Allegedly, he's nursing an ankle injury. He's on the PUP list. Tyree Cleveland is now being carted off the field as of this moment. I've got it on in the background here, so it's like anytime I look at the camera, it's like right behind it. But find yourselves in a predicament here early, and the season hasn't started. It's not quite the hole that Andrew Luck kind of gave you guys, but it's a pretty substantial hole for guys that you were depending on AR to be able to lean on.
Yeah.
And maybe not necessarily Doolin, but definitely with Johnathan Taylor. He's going to be a huge factor for that, but it doesn't sound like Thursday's trying to give him that money, and it doesn't sound like he's making his way any closer to the field. Um, so which one do you think gives first? If any?
I'm sorry, you kind of like faded out. I could barely hear you there. I don't know what happened to the sound.
Oh, that might be me.
Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So what do you think gives first? The GM owner that doesn't want to give any money, or the running back who's worth a fair amount?
You know, I'm gonna assume that the GM probably won't. And like, I'm not really sure what Jonathan Taylor here is playing. Like, it's not common to leave the team to go on rehab. Like, that's just how often do you hear about that off-season injury? I'm going to go off-site, and it doesn't make any sense to me. And when you're in a predicament like you lost half the season with an ankle injury, and now you're still rehabbing it, you're on the PUP list, and so you had obviously a down year because of injuries. You're still hurt. What leverage do you really have for an extension or for someone to trade for you? Like like the whole thing just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't understand why you would. Oh, I'm hurt, but trade me or pay me more. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know if he's getting bad advice or whatever, but right now, he was away from the team, came back. He took like for personal issues day, but his stance hasn't changed on wanting a trade. Right now he's just become a cancer, and there are pictures of him, and he looked. The internet kind of roasted him on it. He's standing there. He's got his hoodie on, and he's in the background. He looks like a Sith, like he's turned to the dark side.
Yeah,
Like it's just you don't want that on the field. Like I don't at this point I don't even know why they don't just tell him to stay away from the team, because at this point it's detrimental. It's not helping anything. If he plays, is he really going to give you 100%? The contract thing sucks. I wish that they could have gotten something done, but the market is what it is, and right now he's just a sideshow distraction, and that's some shit that a rookie quarterback doesn't need. Like, if you're not going to be there to help him, then if they have a trade partner, they need to take it. Right now, it's just not helping.
Yeah,
I'm questioning if he's actually still hurt, or if he's just using it as an excuse to be on the PUP list so he doesn't get docked.
I mean, yeah, that's more than likely what it is at this point.
He's like, I'll come back when I'm healthy. Well, now you're just gonna. Oh yeah, my ankle still doesn't feel right. Like,
yeah.
So I feel like either way, he's kind of full of shit here. I don't know.
Is there anybody that you think would immediately try to reach out and trade for him?
I mean, if everybody thinks he hurts, then what's the value?
Well, I mean, yeah.
The Colts are going to want probably at least a first for him, and who the fuck's going to give a first for, someone that's had an ankle injury for like a year now? It's just like, I don't think there's much value either way. I don't think he's going to get the trade, and he's not going to get the contract. So I don't know if it's him or if it's just a bad agent in his ear. I don't know. Like, I feel like his best option was to play it through, keep the same attitude that you had for the last 3 years, and they probably pay you. I don't know.
Where do you think he would fit the best if he did leave?
I mean, I think he's a very talented running back. I think he could really fit in anywhere. And I think I don't know if they have the cap space for it. I don't know much, about their situation, but I think the first team I said was Buffalo. It's like, I already know they made a trade with Hines, and he's out for the season on some snowmobile or something accident. I don't know what. and I even think he's not going to get paid for the year anyway. I feel like that would have been a really good fit for him. Pass heavy offense. He's a great receiving back, but I highly doubt they're willing to get rid of a first to do it.
Yeah.
You got to assume that's close to the asking price.
I mean, I don't know that you can get a first for a running back nowadays.
Probably not,
I
especially not
mean,
a hurt one. But I'm saying that's probably
especially
what they want.
yeah. I
Imagine
mean,
trading Jonathan Taylor for like a third. I mean,
yeah. I
we
mean,
fucking riot.
the teams that are going to want him the most, they're probably strapped for the most cash. So the third would probably be what they're giving.
Yeah,
But like, I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure that's why
realistically,
Irsay said, "Yeah, we're
the
not trading."
Panthers, they got Miles Sanders, and that's
Don't
pretty
don't
much.
don't don't trade with the Panthers. Fuck Frank Reich.
I mean, I'm just thinking, they got Miles Sanders, who's Miles Sanders. So I
Yeah,
mean, JT and Miles Sanders would be a decent combo.
yeah.
Maybe Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah. And even him and like Baltimore.
Oh yeah,
Him with Lamar is kind of what I was. I know I was pitching that pretty heavy in the offseason last year.
yeah, you were. That would be a lethal combo. So the Colts have been having joint practice, and they've been scrimmaging,
Scrimmaging,
scrimmage,
scrimmaging.
scrimmage. They've been having a scrimmage with the Chicago Bears, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What have you heard? What are the takeaways?
Um, not a whole lot to be honest. I mean, it's not a whole lot. I mean, usually you hear about some fights or whatever broke out, and the only thing that really came out of it was Doolin getting hurt. I think there was Justin Fields threw an interception. I think it was like hit by Nick Cross and picked off by EJ Speed. So it's always good to hear about getting picks off another quarterback. So
Yeah.
I think Anthony Richardson didn't have the greatest day. I think he was like 2 for 6 or something like that. But I think he had 3 other completions that were called back due to like illegal receiver downfield or something. So he statistically would have had a better day. I mean, So, I mean, but other than that, I haven't heard anything about fights and nothing. They're just playing together.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, usually when you have the joint practices with one of the teams that you're about to play in the preseason game, those preseason games get a little chippy.
A little bit.
Is that so? I mean, it's interesting that none of the tempers are flaring yet. Do you think that there will be anything that happens in the preseason game?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think the Bears are much of a hated team to the Colts. So I don't know if there's probably not a whole lot of rivalry there. I think the Colts, have quite a bit of respect for Eberflus. He was the DC here for a while, and like I said, it wasn't. At least I'm sure there was some little chippy, little pushing. That's part of the game. But the fact that there weren't any fights, whatever. I don't think there'll be. I wouldn't predict any big fights coming into the preseason game.
Okay. Speaking of the preseason game, obviously AR has been named the starter for week 1 of the regular season.
Should be.
What are you looking to see out of him in this second preseason game?
I'm looking for him to hopefully have a little bit more patience. I think one of the biggest things was, I think Isaiah mentioned it. He was kind of, one read and that was it. So I'm looking for him. This kind of depends on the offensive line too, to give him a chance to make that second and third read too. And I guess like less errant throws, or there was a few throws in the other preseason game where just a bad decision. Just I think on that pick that he threw, it was pretty much a blown play from the get go. Like nothing about it looked good. Nothing was going right. That ball should have been in the foot of his receiver or thrown into the stands. Like there was no reason to even don't turn a bad decision and make it a disaster. But it's preseason. He's going to make mistakes like that. So I just want to see him kind of clean that up a little bit, make his reads, and if it's a bad play, just live to fight another down. Just take the L on the play and move on to the next. That's what I just want to see, better decision making.
Yeah. Is there anybody from the first preseason game that kind of gave you like, oh crap, I didn't see that one coming, or showed flashes or anything?
Um, I mean, I guess I could harp a little bit on, I actually have really big expectations this year for Alec Pierce. I think he's really their home run hitter, and it was a tough catch to make. Like Isaiah was saying, he kind of had a guy draped on him, but man, if you're a receiver in the NFL and it hits you in the hands, you catch the ball. Like that's so. Uh, I think what was it last year against the Texans? He had that touchdown pass in the end zone and dropped it. So it's like it seems like this has been kind of an ongoing little bit of a theme with him. Those contested catches where he's just not coming down with it. I have higher expectations that hopefully he can take over that number one spot. So that's who I've really got my eye on. Like I want to see consistent big play out of him. Like that's what I want to see. And I guess out of the rookie Evan Hull, I feel like he's gonna have to step up big time. I don't really know who they're planning on starting at running back. With what's his name?
Zach Moss.
Zach Moss, thank you. With him, being out, and obviously this crap going on with Johnathan Taylor, I'd like to see him step up a little bit more.
Yeah, they brought in Kenyon Drake to kind of fill in a little bit there. They also do they still have Dante Jackson, or did he leave?
Let's see here. I think he's still
or Deion Jackson or whatever his name is.
Deion Jackson, yeah.
Well,
you're all over the place with names, man. Come on.
I know. I can't. I'm glad I didn't put that one in the title.
The Taylor, hold on. Let's see. Yeah, Zach Moss. Yeah, he's hurt. Evan Hull. They've got Evan Hull right now listed as the third string behind Taylor and Zach Moss. They've actually got Kenyon Drake behind him.
Interesting.
Now, obviously, this is preseason.
Right.
So if that actually holds true, who knows? But as of right now on their website, that's what it's got listed as.
Okay. So in the first preseason game, did anybody make any plays where you were just like, that was pretty bad? Anything that you like really hope that is corrected or the players cut?
They keep and I talked about him being trade fodder, and I hope he kind of is. I feel like Mo Alley Cox is kind of I feel like his clock ran out. They still had Jelani Woods. I don't know if it still is, but he was listed third on the depth chart behind Mo Alley Cox and Granson, and that doesn't compute with me. I don't understand it. Mo Alley Cox has been a project for 5 years. He's had a couple, some big plays, but some really bad plays. I mean, he was pretty much the catalyst in the Dallas game where all the momentum shifted. It was just a routine tackle from behind. He fumbled the football, and that's when all the tires came off. I'm not blaming it all on him. I'm just saying it didn't help. I feel like personally I'm over him. You've had 5 years, you've never materialized into that, that potential that they thought you had. It's just I feel like it's time for them to move on. Hopefully he proves me wrong, but yeah. Other than that and the interception that Anthony Richardson threw is that was just a no-brainer. Don't throw the ball, and it was just a disaster play.
Yeah. Speaking of Anthony Richardson, of course, I already touched on it. He is named the starter for Week 1. Is that a relief or a concern for you?
I mean, it's a relief. I've said it several times before. If Andrew Luck was still here but on his way out, or if you had an Aaron Rodgers or Peyton Manning or Tom Brady for him to sit behind and learn for a couple of years, then yeah, absolutely. Like don't throw him out there when you have like an MVP caliber quarterback to learn behind. Yeah, don't throw him out there. They don't have that in Minshew. I mean, he's got experience, but to me, he's kind of like that Ryan Fitzpatrick, kind of a journeyman. He's very serviceable. If you ask him to come in, he can win you some games. But I don't feel like there's anything he could learn from holding a clipboard than actually playing in the game. I think for his development, playing and starting is, just them naming him the starter now builds up his confidence. He can prepare, and they know that, he doesn't have a short, like he's not on a short leash, so to speak. He he knows that he's going to make mistakes. They know he's going to make mistakes, but they're planning on him being, the guy. So I think it's best for his development to just get out there and get reps.
I made this point on my podcast earlier today, the Texans podcast, because it's looking more and more like CJ Stroud's going to be the day one starter week one.
Yeah.
And I've always been of the camp, let him sit. We got Case Keenum and Davis Mills on the roster. Now, my thoughts immediately were like, okay, those guys aren't going to go out there and win you games, a lot of games, regardless. Case Keenum maybe a couple of years ago, but Davis Mills is going to get you 4 to 5 wins. We play the entire NFC South. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole AFC South plays the NFC South this year. So you guys play them too. Those are 4, in theory, like cupcake bottom feeder teams. Regardless, a combination of Davis Mills and Case Keenum could win 4 to 5 games. Which is realistically about the ceiling for the Houston Texans this year. That's where the line is for the Texans win total. It's the actual thing is like 6.5, but more people are betting on the under, so it's like 6.
Yeah.
So my question is this: is it better to have this bad team and put your quarterback in a situation to potentially learn bad habits and lose confidence than it is to have them sit behind somebody who isn't even necessarily better than them, but they can learn the fundamentals and the technique at a much broader scale and pace in practice, and not have to have it under such scrutiny day one?
Well, I guess on the flip, like, is it a confidence boost to sit behind someone you know that you're better than?
Is it?
Like,
I mean, if a coach walked up to me and was like, "Look, you played with A+ talent, and then now you're on a team with C talent," that's a substantial drop off. The offensive line is in flux. You know what I mean? Like, it's a question of, do you want to protect your investment and build him, or do you want to throw him to the wolves and see if he sinks or swims?
I mean, it's a crash course, man. I've always been like a kind of a throw him in the fire, just.
And the Colts have a history of that. They threw both Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning in, and they did their thing.
Yeah.
But Peyton had a rough rookie year. Andrew Luck did not.
Yeah.
That's not typical.
He got the shit kicked out of him, but he had a winning record.
Right. And
he was like the most hit quarterback.
Yeah. But like, you guys had 2 back-to-back generational quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you can sit here and say that Anthony Richardson is much more than a project player taken early. I mean, you got more to work on with him than you don't.
Yeah. I think they're looking at it as, they want to win.
Right.
Not a single, like, I was kind of excited going in. I'm like, okay, well, Matt Ryan, he had this MVP season, probably win Super Bowl MVP if they don't tank that Super Bowl game. So it's like, I was optimistic. I know he's older. I was expecting kind of a Stafford thing where, a lot of the rest of the team was going to kind of carry it a little bit. I was not expecting, when they tied the Texans, I'm like, this is going to be a long fucking year.
Yeah.
And there's our guy is not going into a retirement home. He's mobile. And I think those are the 2 biggest things. Like, he's a freak athlete. And a lot of people are comparing him to like Cam Newton. His size and build and, just physical attributes. The dude tests off the charts. So he's got all the potential in the world to be, great. It's going to take coaching and it's going to take, whatever. And I think the best way to do it is to give him those in-game reps. Like I don't, based on the way that he talks and his attitude, I don't think he's someone that would get demoralized from a loss. And I think he's more of the where did I fuck up and how can I improve on it. And I think that's the type of guy that he is. I think giving him that experience is going to benefit him, and I don't think it'll be very detrimental. But
I understand the throwing him to the fire aspect of it, and the seeing you push the bird out of the nest, see if he flies. You already know what you have him in, shoes, so why not try for something better than mediocre? But my thing is this: what are the legitimate expectations for wins this season? If the number is less than 7, start Minshew. Because then, if you're saying it's less than 7, you're basically saying we're not going to have a playoff team this year, even if AR is starting. So the only thing we're doing is getting him reps, which we both know benefits a young quarterback. But Patrick Mahomes sat 15 games behind Alex Smith, who's not an MVP candidate. He never won a Super Bowl.
And I think Alex Smith doesn't get enough credit, though, man. He got the raw end of the deal a few times.
The first 6 years of his career, he was dog water. The only reason he was starting is because he was such a high draft pick, and they paid him a lot of money because he was like in that last class of rookies who would get paid an obscene amount. Regardless, Mahomes, I don't think, is lacking any confidence because he sat behind Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Andy Reid, who is a phenomenal coach, taught that young man how to play the quarterback position in the NFL, to the point where when he got his first game reps at the end of the season, he came in and torched whoever it was that they played and gave enough confidence in Andy Reid to trade Alex Smith to the Washington Commanders. All I'm saying, it's not even that Patrick Mahomes was a project player. Minshew can start. It doesn't damage anything for this season.
You know, I think I'm putting. I went through I was going over like win loss and where I see wins and where I see losses coming in the Colts season, and I feel like the floor. Last year, if they had just average quarterback play. Like if Matt Ryan doesn't fumble the fucking football like 15 times or whatever it was, and he just, manages the game, just basic quarterback shit. I saw several wins on that, like very winnable games where they could have been tied for, if not win the division. Because, Jacksonville only won it with 9 wins. So it's like I like what I saw there were some very winnable games that could have made it at least a lot closer in the division. If they just had average quarterback play. They had bad quarterback play most of the season.
Right, but we're talking about throwing in a
so
kid
I'm saying,
who's going to bring
Richardson can just play average, I don't see why he couldn't win 9-10 games.
Why do you think he can come in and play average off the bat? This
I'm
is a
just saying
guy
not terrible.
He couldn't play average at Florida. This guy's an athlete. His saving grace is the fact he can run, and he's huge, which is nice.
I think that's the biggest X factor right there is the coach.
Well, yes. I mean, he's got somebody who knows how to foster fast quarterbacks or running quarterbacks, and that's going to be hugely beneficial for him. But I mean, realistically, I think the line for the Colts is like 6 games, according to like BetMGM or something.
And I think that wants to surprise some people.
Titan Fox, if your honest opinion or if your honest expectation is 6 wins regardless, let him sit and learn. But what fan thinks about their own team? About their own team? I know the fans don't determine the roster, but hope is always there.
I mean,
It's not
no team
necessarily
is
that you
going into
don't
the
have.
season saying, "Yeah, we're only going to win 3 games.
Look,
Let's just start Minshew. We're gonna lose. Let's just do it with Minshew." Like no one's going into this. Like
I
everyone has
understand
one
that.
goal, and it's to win a Super Bowl. Like,
Right,
what talent gives me the best chance at doing that?
right. We can talk all day about having goals, but we also need to set realistic expectations. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's big goal is to lose weight, but you got to have realistic expectations along the way to encourage further progress. So like if the realistic expectation is 6 wins, that just tells you that the fan is sitting here saying the team is not playoff ready at this moment. We're not in the championship hunt right now. If
So
that's the case, does it do more harm than good to expose that high of an investment to subpar football?
I feel like you're kind of answering the question for me. When you have an abysmal season and you've had a revolving door at quarterback, I am tired of that damn graphic. Oh, look at all the starting quarterbacks since Andrew Luck. I am tired of it. Tired of seeing it. Tired of seeing the graphic. And they know that. Like, and I think taking a quarterback 4th overall, yeah, we're gonna start Minshew. Like what? Like you're admitting that Anthony Richardson at 4 was a complete fuck up.
No, you're
Like why
not.
would you
No, you're not.
look
You're
at the
not admitting
49ers
it.
with Trey Lance? I mean, come on, dude. Like it's
My guy, Zach Wilson was drafted 2 overall. Ryan Leaf was drafted 2 overall. CJ Stroud drafted 2 overall. All I'm saying is
then you're admitting a failure though.
would you rather it's not admitting to failure. It's literally
If
being
you
like,
don't start your
okay,
4th overall quarterback
this
after
guy had
after the
this guy
abysmal
had
year and you don't start him.
Anthony Richardson had issues starting as a was it a redshirt sophomore
Yeah.
at Florida. He only played 13 games in college football. There's probably things about college football he never even learned.
Then you're if you don't start him, then you're pushing the narrative that he should not have been taken 4th.
I don't think that's the case.
I think it is.
Nobody was saying that about Patrick Mahomes. And
But
this
they were
leads me
already
this
playing
leads me
well with
into a
Alex
good
Smith
would
though.
you
Like
rather. Would you here's the would you rather, okay? Would you rather have Minshew start, the Colts win 5 to 6 games, but this guarantees that Anthony Richardson, who will start the next season, will be at least a Pro Bowler? Or would you rather have Anthony Richardson come in, play poorly, but next season he all is like near Pro Bowl level?
well, there needs to be a C option then.
What's the
Like
C option?
that he also becomes a Pro Bowl and starts this year. Like it, I don't know, man. It's I don't know if there's a second one. Yeah, I mean, I feel like he needs to start. You need to know what you have out of him, and I don't think Ballard's one to shy away from. Yeah, I made a fuck up. Like I feel like his tenure would be over. Like if they're looking for a quarterback again in the draft next year, I don't think it'll be Ballard making the pick. So I think you need to put him out there. I really do. Like no matter.
So you're telling me right now, if this man's footwork and technique is terrible, if he doesn't know how to read defenses, and he creates his own pressure, that you're going to sit here and be like, yeah, he's ready. Go put him in there.
Steichen is.
No,
I'm not bad enough to be a coach, man.
Steichen is probably being forced by Ballard, who's got people breathing down his neck. He's got to have that dude on the field. You know what I mean? So, like, this is one of those times where front office and coaching are definitely colliding. Because if I'm Shane Steichen, I'm like, let's sit him. I brought in Gardner for a reason. He already knows my offense. He played for me last year.
That means he already knows what he has out of Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew
we can go around on this all day.
He won games with Gardner. That's all I'm saying. It's like it's not like he brought in a random. It's somebody who already knows how to run his offense.
Yeah, that's what makes a great backup.
All right. Would you rather Anthony Richardson start the season, tear his ACL week 9, or would you rather him start week 9 and have no injuries?
Obviously, you'd want him to start week 9. Yeah, he's very biased, Titan Fox.
It's a would yeah.
He's making up excuses because he doesn't want his Ohio State quarterback to play.
I'm not even making up excuses, my guy. There's evidence of letting a quarterback sit and develop, and it works. And the narrative of we got to throw him in immediately has not worked out well for a lot of quarterbacks. Justin Fields is in a prove it or lose it deal. Zach Wilson's already been replaced. Davis Mills has been replaced.
Yeah, but they're all terrible. We don't know if he's terrible or not. I mean, do you really think Zach Wilson would be good behind anybody? Like, after Aaron Rodgers goes, do you really think that Zach Wilson is...
That's the thing, though. He was drafted number 2 overall. There was hype around him. He was supposed to be good. Remember? You know what I mean? Like, we can look at him now and be like, he sucks. You know, he's hot garbage. But, like, we didn't know that back then. How do we know that he wouldn't have been better if he was already sitting behind Aaron Rodgers? Everybody's talking about how Jordan Love looks. They're not saying he looks bad.
I bet he won't look good.
Look, all I'm saying is he's been in the NFL now for 3 years. And this man is, yeah, exactly, Titan Fox. Hindsight is 20/20. But, like, right now, if there are ways and trends that you can put your team on, the best trend is to sit and let that quarterback digest because the speed is different. I think Anthony Richardson got a taste of that when he played his first preseason game. The speed is different. The offensive line is different. The wide receiver core is different. He's probably got better wide receiver talent now than he did in Florida. But this is a guy who, like Davis Mills, only played 13 college football games. He's young and very wet behind the ears. This is a kid who needs time.
Yeah, a lot of game time experience. That's what he...
Game time's either going to make him or break him. And if there's a chance that you break him by the end of the season. Let's just say you guys start with the Colt, or he starts, and then you guys go 3-14.
So exactly what Peyton Manning did.
Well, 3-13, but
yeah.
But Peyton Manning probably didn't throw as many interceptions as Anthony Richardson will.
Dude, he threw like
28.
28 or some shit. Like he led the league. I don't see Anthony Richardson throwing the ball enough to throw 28 picks.
He didn't throw the ball a lot the other day and threw one. And that was against backups.
Yeah, I mean, he's starting. It is what it is.
Look,
we'll see, man.
You get what I'm saying, though? Like, do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I get both sides of it, but it's like with the way that our quarterback room has been, with how the last season went, with how it ended, with Carson Wentz, like it's just let's just throw the new guy in. Like there's an excitement, he's a freak athlete. Just this is about keeping the fans around. No fan is going to be excited if Minshew's under center. I'm just saying. I feel like a lot of this is about ticket sales, and a lot of it is about Ballard's job. But
yeah,
I just feel like it's from a business perspective, it's something that they had to do.
That's kind of partially why I think C.J. Stroud's going to end up starting, because Caserio really needs it to work out.
Yeah.
But I think we're up against it here, so we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Titan Fox, thanks for following us in the chat here, brother.
For sure.
Jeff, always a pleasure. I hope you have a great night. And if you need to, did you guys find a shoebox already, or
No, we went the other way.
ah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
My fiance's cat passed away today, so we're doing the. He's gonna be cremated. So
nice. Are you guys gonna get like a little urn?
yeah, yeah,
You
and a
should
little
get
like
like
paw
a you should get an action figure of the Undertaker and sit right beside it. Paul Bear. Oh yes. And then if they have an alarm clock like that, I would buy
Oh
one.
my god.
It's 8:45. All right. Well, folks, be good people.
Go Colts.